Hello everyone, welcome to Everyday Linux User. In today's video I'm going to show you how I got Bluetooth working within Debian, and I'm using the LXQT version. And the problem I found with Bluetooth is actually getting my Bluetooth to actually be picked up by Debian at all. So this video is going to be more of I'm going to show you how I did it. It may or may not work for you, but hopefully it will give you at least enough of a tip that you can get it working on your system as well. So you can see here I've got Bluetooth here, and if I go into the devices you can see I've connected to my Wi-Fi Bluetooth speaker here, and that's all connected. So I can minimize that, and I've downloaded a tune from YouTube. It's royalty free, and if I play this now it should come out of the speakers okay. So you can see that that is working. I'm going to actually disconnect it.
Disconnected.
And the reason I'm disconnecting is sometimes Bluetooth speakers can interfere with the microphone. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how I got the Bluetooth working. So I've got some notes here, and these are the packages that we'll need: Bluetooth, Bluez and Blueman. And we're going to try to use the terminal as infrequently as possible. This is for the everyday Linux user, so I'm going to try and stop using the terminal where I don't need to. So here we go. We're going to go into this bottom corner here, and we're going to click on Preferences, and we're going to click on Synaptic, and we're going to type in our password. Now Synaptic is a package manager, a graphical one. So the packages we need: Bluetooth, Bluez and Blueman. So we'll search for Bluetooth first. It already shows that Bluez is installed, so we're going to install Bluetooth like that, and the other one we need is Blueman, so we're going to click on that and mark there, and we should be able to click apply and apply again, and that's going to download and install the packages. And I've closed down the Synaptic now, and if we go down here and we type Bluetooth Manager, we've got that there, and we'll enable that automatically. Did that just die straight away? I feel like it did. So what I'm going to do is actually reboot the computer at this point. So now I've rebooted, you can see I've got a little icon in the tray. The trouble is when I right click and click on devices, it doesn't work. So we are going to have to go into the terminal, and we can click on this icon here. And what we're going to do is sudo systemctl status Bluetooth. And it shows that there aren't actually any errors, it's just Blueman is causing issues. Oh, no, there we go. Now quite often with these things you can get around them by just restarting it. So I've done sudo systemctl stop Bluetooth and then sudo systemctl start Bluetooth, and that will restart the Bluetooth. And then we can run the status command again. So what you can see me do now is set up user permissions to use Bluetooth. I assume that I was already in the group, but I've set it up anyway. So what I did was sudo space usermod space -a capital G space Bluetooth space Gary, which is my username, and that makes sure I've got the correct permissions. And then I go back into Synaptic to install more packages. I installed the realtek firmware because that's the firmware for the Wi-Fi card and Bluetooth card. And you can see I've got Bluez installed, Bluez firmware and things like that. So I've got all these Bluetooth things installed. And then what you do is if you open up a terminal window and you type sudo systemctl status Bluetooth and type the password in, you can see it's running and it's all perfectly fine. But previously this wasn't perfectly fine at all. This was very broken, and the reason for that, if I run sudo rfkill list, this wasn't showing up at all. This Bluetooth here was not showing up, and without this showing up, Bluetooth isn't going to work. Now if you're not seeing this little Bluetooth icon in the menu at all, then you can type sudo systemctl restart and Bluetooth, and you can type sudo systemctl enable Bluetooth, and that's that now working again. And if I go up here, I can type Bluetooth manager, and you can see the icons appeared back in here. And now if I go into here, the Bluetooth devices is working again. But that's not the end of the story, because as I mentioned, this Bluetooth wasn't there at all, and that might be something you get if you've got a Wi-Fi or Bluetooth card like I have the Realtek one, where it's requiring a newer version of the kernel. So this is what I did next. If I clear here, first off I ran sudo apt update because that then updated my repositories. I then edited the sources.list, so that's sudo nano /etc/apt/sources.list, and you'll see there is this Backports one here. If you haven't got that, you need to type it in as I have here, and it's basically deb http://deb.debian.org/debian/ and it's I'm going to try and add this into the description. Let me know if I don't, because I quite often forget these things. And then it's bookworm -backports non-free -firmware main contrib non-free. So once you've got that in there, I think the line's already in there. You might need to put main contrib non-free in there, but you can press Ctrl X. I have got a guide for Nano if you need to learn how to use Nano, and I'll link that as well. So now that's been done, the next thing I did was type uname -r, and you can see it's running the 6.1.0 kernel, and that's not new enough to get my Bluetooth working. So I did apt search linux-image, and you can see that scroll past fairly fast, but if you look here, there's all these 6.10, and you saw previously it was only 6.1 that I'm using. So what we're looking for is a signed one for AMD64 for Backports. So 6.1.025 is the one we're using, but you can see there's this 6.10.6 BPO one here. So that's what I did next. I wanted to install that version of the kernel, which I did. So how I did that was sudo apt install linux-image -6.10.6 plus BPO -AMD64 space, and then linux-headers -6.10.6 plus BPO -AMD64, and what that does is it installs a newer version of the Linux kernel. So that takes a few minutes to run, and once you've done that, just reboot your computer. What it will do now is give you the latest version of the kernel that you've just installed. So I've rebooted, and if I go into a terminal, I can type uname -r, and you can see I've got a later version of the kernel. That's not the end of the story, because when I ran sudo rfkill list and entered my password, this said soft blocked yes, which meant the Bluetooth still wouldn't work, but at least it was now showing up in the list. So what I then did was type sudo rfkill unblock all, and if you run the rfkill list again, it should say soft blocked no across the board. Okay, so that's what I did there, and then I was able to right click here, go into devices and search, and you can see my Bluetooth device turned up, and indeed other devices have also turned up.
Connecting.
And you can hear that's connected in the background. Now I'm sorry I can't show you the steps as I'm doing them, because once I've got it working it's hard to then backtrack right to the very beginning. But essentially what you need to do is install the Bluetooth tools, which I'll show you as part of the video because I did record some of that prior to getting it working, and you've seen the steps that I followed to get my one working, and hopefully if you're having troubles it will help you along the way and give you some hints and tips. I found that the AI in this case, like ChatGPT and Gemini and things like that, didn't really help at all, and a lot of the forum help wasn't very useful either. It was a case of trial and error, and then I figured that if I install the latest kernel that I could, that maybe it would work, and lo and behold it did. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time on Everyday Linux User.